Hi, beautiful people. Remember, I said I was going to do tips and tricks on how to pass your driving test. Take this from somebody who tried 3 times and passed on the 3rd time. Take this from me, right? Let's get straight into it. I don't want to waste people's time. If you have not watched the story time, go and watch story time in the other video, but this one is tips and tricks. Let's get straight into it. Sorry, guys. Tip number 1, choose the test center that is within your locality. I cannot stress that enough, guys. For the first 2 tests that I failed, I chose a test center that was on the other side of town. So it wasn't a route I was familiar with. But the one that I passed, I chose the test center very close to the closest to my house, right? And this is why this helped, because when I drop my kids at school, when I go to my local test schools, either my husband driving or I take a taxi or I take a bus or whatever, we were passing the driving routes. So they were familiar places, right? While some places were, far out of where I would drive, but the most part, they seemed familiar because they were within my locality. I had passed that lane before. I knew, okay, if they say turn right, I know where that junction likely leads into, compared to the one that I went to choose that was on the other side of town, right? So that's tip number 1. Please choose the test center closest to your locality so that it is somehow familiar. Number 2, very, very important. Watch YouTube videos like your life depends on it, right? I think, or I would assume, that there is a YouTube video for every driving test center. So once you've chosen the test center, if you type in, for example, in my own case, COWIC test center, you will see plenty instructors that will show you videos on the different routes. Watch them. If you can dedicate 30 minutes every night before you sleep, right, to just watching it and looking at the routes, looking at the mistakes people are making, it will help you. It will really help you. So number 2, go and watch YouTube videos. Watch enough. There are even some that are not test center specific. For example, if you want to learn things like your maneuvers, just type it in. Learning maneuvers, practical driving test, you will find it on YouTube. YouTube is a very great resource. I don't even think that we should limit it, because anything you want to learn, go to YouTube, you will find it there, right? So watch YouTube videos on your driving test route. Number 3. You see I'm sounding this number 3. Practice. Guys, when I say practice, if you have, aside from practicing with your instructor, if you have friends, if you have family, if you have, anybody, your spouse that has been driving in the UK for a while, and I know that they will usually recommend that the person has been driving for at least 3 years for them to take you out. So if you have somebody like that, please beg them. If it's for you to give them a small token in exchange for their time, beg them to follow you so that you can practice around. Don't practice too long distance, but practice. Even if it's to tell them, okay, follow me, let's go to this car park, let me practice my maneuvers. Beg them, let them follow you. Practice. Like, if you don't practice, I don't even think that there will be any way that you might be able to pass your test, right? You learn to drive by driving. There is no two way about it. So you need to practice. When you practice, you start to improve. And in addition to watching the YouTube videos that I told you in, tip number 2, you start to see what you should do and what you should not do, what you should do and what you should not do, right? Tip number 4. Now, this one is for on the test day itself. On the test day itself, make sure that you keep your nerves under control. I know that this is easier said than done, because you see that my second test, if you watch my story time, that my second test, I told you people, I couldn't just keep my nerves under control. So do what you can to keep your nerves under control. In this case, in the 3rd test that I finally passed, right, what I did was to be telling myself, nice and calm. When I get to any roundabout that I feel like may terrify me, and no one even really terrified me, but I just kept telling myself, nice and calm. I didn't eat before going because I didn't want, my tummy to be rumbling or, just feel a certain way. And even the night before, I made sure that I slept well, just anything to make me feel relaxed and not really feel like I'm under any kind of pressure, or just not be able to calm my nerves, right? And it went well, right? So just you need to find a way to put your nerves under control. I don't know how you do it. I think some people say that there's one droplet that you can take and then it will help you to keep calm. I don't know. That was not a route that I explored, but I just kept telling myself nice and calm, nice and calm. Giving myself that internal pep talk, I think it helps to really calm me down. Now, tip number 5, as people will always say, this is for the test day now. Keep going even if you think you failed. Like, give it your best drive till the very end. Even I remember my first test, right? When he said park up on the left, I brushed the curb a little, right? I could feel my tire brush the curb. And in that point, I thought that I had already failed. And that was not like, he didn't even, it was not a major fault. I don't even think that. I think he put it as one of my minors. But, if not for that major fault I had, I would have passed that test, right? So I had thought, hey, God, I had failed though. But one thing that just came to me was, just give it your best till the very end. And then I continued along, right? And he didn't make a big deal out of it at all. Even towards the end of the test, when he was explaining things I did wrong, he did not even make it into a big deal. So even when you think that you have failed, continue to give it your best drive till you get to the test center and they say, okay, park here. You are done, right? Just give it your best drive. Give it your best, give it all that you've got. That's the long story short. Tip number 6. Is it number 6 or number 7? I don't know. You guys tell me, right? And I think this will be my final tip. Don't tell anybody you're doing your driving test. Don't be like me, oh. Me, I'm an announcer. Me, I'll go tell everybody because, which one concern me. But I've read that, when you don't tell anybody you're doing your driving test, it kind of helps you go with the mindset that, if I pass, if I fail, no wahala, let me just move on, right? It's not a big deal. Let me just go on whether I pass or I fail. As opposed to when you tell a lot of people about your driving test, you feel some kind of pressure because, those people will be eager to hear feedback from you now. They will even call you at some point, how far? How did your driving test go? Oh, how are you? How did your driving test go? But if you don't tell them that you're going for a driving test, I think it takes that kind of pressure from you, which I quite understand, right? But me, I'm a newscaster. I'm happy to tell everybody I'm going for my driving test because on the other hand, I feel like it helps me because I want to give them exciting news too, right? It helps me want to stay focused. I don't know if that makes sense. So just pick your poison, whether to tell them or to not tell them. But I think from things I've read, from advice people have given, don't tell anybody about your driving tests or only tell a very few people, so that the pressure is not a lot. I feel like, oh my God, I've already told this many people. I need to pass. Because the last thing you want is pressure. The last thing you want is anxiety when it comes to, trying to pass your test. You don't need all those things in your life. So I hope that my tips will be helpful, but it feels so good to be on the other side in the driving world. And I can't wait for you guys to come and join me. So if you have your test coming up, I wish you all the best. Make use of all the tips that I've given. Watch YouTube videos, find more tips, listen to your driving instructor, and you'll make it. I wish you all the best. Bye, guys.